Welcome to the DNR's webinar on submitting a demolished building burn notification. And the first thing you'll need to do is go to our login page. Now, if you haven't created your account yet, you will actually need to do that first, and you can go back and watch our webinar on creating an account for assistance with that process. So then to submit notifications, again, you'll come to our login screen where you'll enter your email address, and then you'll need to enter your password as well to get into the system. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Select login. And this will bring you to our home page within the database. Now to submit this notification for a demolished building burn, you'll click on the third link down. And this will bring you to our form to complete for this submittal. There are 7 steps that we'll go through today. So beginning with step 1, we need to identify the operation type. So for this particular notification, it's going to be a demolished building burn, so we'll select that. The notification type, this will be an original. The postmark date is pre-filled for you. It's based on today's date. The next item that needs to be completed is identifying the fire department or city official that is going to be responsible for the demolished building burn. So what you do here is click on this search button, and now you can search for the fire department, and then if you don't find it, you can click on this add new to be able to add to the system. I'll go ahead and search here on a city. Today I'm going to select the Ackley Fire Department, so that was returned in my search, and then I will select them by clicking over here on the left. Again, if they didn't occur in your search, you would click this Add New Company button here, and you go ahead and add them. But we'll select them here, and the information is then filled on the form. I also need to identify the contact, so I click on Search, and I can search for my contact, and I'm going to search on last name. And this happens to be my contact. I will select them. Again, if your contact isn't in here, you do add new contact, and you're able to fill in the information. So I will select John Smith as my contact. Now I need to identify the building owner, and in this case, this could be an individual, it could be the city that owns the property, or it could be a company as well. And I'm going to search on a company name. And the company I'm looking for is not here, so I didn't get a match in this case. So now I'm going to select Add New Company, and I can fill that information in here. So we need to complete the name, the address, city, state, zip, and also a phone number. Once you've completed that, you'll click on Save. And again, that information will be added to the form. Also need the building owner contact, so we'll go ahead and click Search for that individual. Now, since I know the company was not in here to begin with, I know I'm just going to have to add the new contact, so I'll go ahead and click on that. And our contact is going to be Jane Doe. So first, last name, phone number, and select Save. That completes step 1, so you'll click on Save and Continue at the bottom of this page. For step 2, we need to identify the building itself. So we can search for this particular property within the database. And again, if it's not in the database, for the building, you'll actually add the information on the form. I'll go ahead and do that for demonstration. So we're going to just call this a house. So we'll enter the address as well as the county. The county has a drop down. You can also type in to search ahead and select. Same way with the city. State's filled for you. You'll enter the zip code. And then here we also need to enter additional information regarding this structure, the building size in square feet, number of floors, and the year constructed. Here we identify its present use, currently a vacant house. Prior use was a residence. The next step then is to identify the inspector that conducted the asbestos inspection of the property. So we'll search for that individual. Again, you can search by first and last name. I'm going to select my inspector, and that adds to the form. I also need to identify what laboratory method was used to determine whether asbestos was present in the samples taken. A few different choices here. PLM is a very common method. Next question we answer, was or is asbestos-containing material present in the building? And if yes, you do have to attach a summary of how the material was or will be removed. And if there was a prior notification for the actual asbestos abatement, we ask that that be attached as well. So for today's purposes, I'm going to go ahead and select yes, and then I'll show you how to do attachments in a little bit. So that completes step 2. So we'll select Save and Continue. Now we're into step 3, and we have some questions to go through. So will asphalt roofing layers be removed prior to demolition or burning? And a couple of choices here. It's yes or no. If yes, we can skip ahead to number 10. If no, we have some additional information to complete. I'm going to go ahead and select no. Next question, have all asphalt roofing layers been analyzed and found not to contain asbestos? And this has to be a yes if you're planning on including a roofing layer in this burn. So here I'm going to select yes. Next question, if non-asbestos asphalt roofing will remain on the structure during the burn, it asks for whether this is the first or the second burn in this calendar year. I'll select it's the second, so I've reached my cap for the calendar year with this burn. Can only do 2 of those a year with non-asbestos asphalt roofing layers, and that includes both training fires and demolished building burns. Now I need to identify my burn dates, and since this is a demolished building burn, it is a 30-day notification, so it has to be 30 days prior to your burn date that the notification has to be submitted. So we need to go out a month on the calendar. I also have the option to put in an alternative date. Now I'm asked to provide an explanation of why alternative methods of debris management are not being used to dispose of the building. Typically this comes down to the cost or funding associated with projects. So this is a cost savings. Rather than taking the debris to a landfill, you're utilizing the demolished building burn to save costs. And then you need to describe what methods will be used to notify nearby residents of the proposed burn. And this can be something like posting a notice in a newspaper, or perhaps it's a mailing that you will make to residents, or perhaps a door-to-door notification. Next, I have an opportunity to attach additional information that I might want to include with this notification. As stated before, if there was abatement done prior to this, you would want to attach that abatement notification that was previously submitted. Also, we ask for the roofing analysis to be submitted if you're going to be burning any roofing material. So what I'll do here is I'll choose File, and will take me to my search for files. I have this one on the desktop, so I click there. And then I will select this as the document I want to attach to my notification. And I've completed this step, so I'll click Save and Continue. Now I'm on step 4. First question, is the building being or has it been mechanically demolished before the controlled burn will occur? And if I select yes, I have some additional questions to answer. If no, then I complete 13D. So in this case, I'm going to select yes, that it has been mechanically demolished or is going to be. Now I'm going to select the demolition dates. And this would be a 10-day notification for demolition. Next, I'm going to identify my demolition contractor. So I'm going to select Search. I'm going to try and find my demolition contractor in the system. And I'm going to select ABC Demolition as my demolition contractor. And it gets added to the form. Again, if it didn't return in your search, you could add the contractor as a new contractor. Now I'm going to search for the contact. And Tony is my contact for this company, so I will select him. Now 13D in this specific notification, since the structure that's going to be burned was mechanically demolished, I don't need to answer 13D, but if it was a situation where it couldn't be, you would need to provide the reason why here. My next question, will the demolished building burn occur at the original building address indicated in question number 4? Selecting no means that the building is going to be moved to a different location for the burning. And if I select no, I have some additional information that I need to complete here. In this case, I'm going to select no. So this means we are going to move this building to a different site for the burning. Here I need to identify the burn site location. So we're looking for a specific address. Maps can also be helpful if this is in a rural area. And then I have to state yes or no on whether additional buildings will be included in the proposed burn. When burning at a site established outside the city limits, there's an opportunity for that. If I was to select yes here, I would need to identify those other building addresses. Today I'm going to select no, that this will be our only building burned at this location. and then I can save and continue. That brings us to step 5. I need to identify the total square feet of the demolished building material to be burned at this location. And the size of the structure was 1,500 feet that I identified earlier, square feet. You'll notice there is a limitation on that. It can't exceed 1,700 square feet per burn. Next, I'm going to select the times that the burn will occur. So I need to select a start and an end time. Note that these burns can only occur between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Now I'm going to state what the distance is from the nearest inhabited building to the burn site. And note that it has to be at least 0.6 of a mile from any inhabited building, and that includes a residence or a business. So in this case, it's 3/4 of a mile. I'm also asked to identify the number of demolished building burns that have occurred within the city limits, including this during the calendar year. And I'm going to say we've done none within the city limits in this calendar year, enter 0. And I'm going to select save and continue. This brings us to step 6, and this is really a review of everything that I've entered into the notification. So it's an opportunity for review. You can scroll down, check all of your entries to make sure they're correct. If you identified something that needed to be corrected, then you would select the back to previous step button here at the bottom of the page, and you can go back to prior steps from that, make a change, and then proceed through the steps again. If everything is correct, you'll select save and continue. On this step, step 7, I need to agree to the statement above, which is you're acknowledging that you're submitting true and correct information. So click I agree. And then you will add the submitter of this notification's title. And let's say we have the fire chief submitting this today. Now, to actually do the submittal, I have to log back into the database using my password that I've established for the system. So I'll enter that password here. Select login. I'm prompted for one of the security questions that I established when I created my account. So I'll provide the answer. Click on answer. And then I'm going to sign the copy of record that will be submitted to the DNR. And to do that, I will select sign copy of record. System will process the submittal. And now you'll get a notification back on the home page that your notification copy of record has been successfully submitted. You will also get an email indicating that your notification for the demolished building burn has been successfully submitted. And that concludes our webinar on submitting a demolished building burn notification.